Hello everyone. How is everybody doing today? Good to see everyone as you start to show up. Let me see here. Facebook moves things around on me and then it confuses everything. But it's good to see everybody. I've got a batch of questions here for us, which we will go through. And we'll just take it from there, I suppose. Looks like we've got some good, strong signal here, so let's just see how it goes. Okay, question 1 from Carrington Crothers. How can I make a loyalty program effective for my business? I own a photography agency focusing on creating unique and creative product imagery for clients to use digitally to increase online sales. I've been unsuccessful over the past year or so to figure out a subscription model that would help bring in more clients and revenue on a retainer or additional monthly income basis. I was wondering if a loyalty program where people can earn points and get rewards to excite them and spark more recurring bookings. I would love to hear your ideas on whether a loyalty program like this would be good for my business or what other options you would look at in order for me to create a retainer clients as opposed to one-off bookings. Thanks so much. Okay, so to answer your question, Carrington, what jumps to mind immediately is how much of your business are you losing to other sources, right? So in order for your theory here to be correct, that some sort of loyalty program or even a subscription-based model is even necessary, is that the people that you're currently working with are doing stuff on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. So that's my first question is like, of your audience, of your customer base, are they really doing stuff every month that you're missing out on? Are they really spending money every month already because they need what you do on a monthly basis? If the answer is yes, they are, and they're spending that money some other way, or they're getting that work done some other way, then I think you might be onto something with some sort of subscription that reduces the price, because if they are spending every month doing what you do, the net reduction in price could be something valuable to them. And then it's better for you because you're on a subscription model, so now you have recurring revenue that you get money every single month. So I would do a little bit of research first on my target market and make sure that the people that I'm pitching this to are even actually spending money on a monthly basis, or potentially spending money on a monthly basis with what they do. And if they do, if they could be spending that money, but they're choosing not to, now you're in an education situation, which could be good, could be bad. When you're trying to convince people to spend money when they're not already spending money somewhere or in some way, you have to kind of educate them on why they should do that or show them the value. So then I would probably go down the path of some sort of explanation that shows that when companies utilize your services and do things better in the quality level that you do it, they're actually able to produce more revenue on their side. You're going to have to pitch that side of the story that, they should be spending this money, because if they spend the money with you, they'll actually make more money. And you have to be able to show that with data or case studies or all of the above. So, that would be my question on that. Okay, cool. Another question, also from Carrington Crothers. How would you try and sell multiple services to one client? I own a photography agency focusing on creating unique and creative product imagery for clients to use digitally to increase online sales. Even though product photography is my core service, I see clients that also need and want content strategy help as well. This could be good for my business to add this free to my service and deepen the relationship with them. How would you approach selling them strategy sessions as well as the product photography without losing out on the photography revenue? I don't want to lose out on the revenue, but I see the need for strategy. Usually when I want to sell a new product or service offering, I just go to my existing client base, the people I'm already talking to, and in that conversation, I just bring it up. I don't put too much thought into it ahead of time. I just start asking, right? It's in fact, I find it to be one of the easiest sales you'll make, because If you're not already selling it and it's not your primary revenue source, there's a little bit, if it's kind of a throwaway in the conversation of like, oh, hey, we also do this if you're interested in this. Or maybe better than that, before you go into the, hey, I do this and you should buy this from me, establish in the conversation the need, right? So like, don't worry about offering it necessarily. Establish the need first through the conversation. So get them to say, oh, and we also need strategy help. Oh, cool. Well, we do that. I can help with that too because I did that with these people, X, Y, Z. That's what I found to be the best for kind of like cross-selling or upselling is instead of just offering it to people, getting them to ask for it in the conversation. So that's probably worth kind of a good note, and it's something to think about is that if you're trying to upsell or cross-sell, get them to ask for what you want, like literally in the conversation, instead of just throwing it out there. Because then if they ask for it and then you're responding to their question, as opposed to you bringing it up, it sounds less salesy and more like helpful, I guess is maybe a good way to say it. All right, next question. Brad Letchworth. How do you know when the time is right to leave your full-time job and go all in on your business? I'm currently a full-time firefighter and paramedic for a local municipality and have 13 years of service invested with 12 more for retirement. The climate has changed drastically, and although I never dreamed I would even consider leaving the fire service, I find myself struggling to find a reason to stay. My business has been growing slowly over the last several years, but it's still not at the point where I feel comfortable leaving the guaranteed income from my fire job. However, I'm totally burned out and ready to leave. It's the fear that's holding me back and the lure of the guaranteed income and benefits that keeps me there. So how do you know when it's the right time or when should I make the leap? Okay. First off, Brad, what you'll find is that there's like never a good time whenever you're trying to make an investment in your business, and that's essentially what you're saying right now, right? You're making an investment in your business of your time. So if you leave your full-time job, you're basically saying, I'm going to put all my time into the business, which is an investment because like you said, your time has money associated with it. That money is your income that you get at the fire job and your potential retirement at the fire job. So this could be significant money that you're investing in this new business. So in any business that's growing and scaling, there are multiple points on the growth cycle, kind of the growth trajectory of a business, the life cycle of a business, where you reach a point where you have to go, you kind of have to go all in multiple times throughout the growth of the business. It's not, people kind of think, I think sometimes that when you get to a certain point, you don't have to make those leaps, but you absolutely do. If you're trying to get to 1 million, you got to leap to 1 million. And then you'll probably be comfortable again. And then if you want to go to 10 million, you got to leap again to 10 million. And there's going to be risk and potential disaster, financial disaster or otherwise, at each one of those leaps. It doesn't matter how big you are. You can go into 10 million to 100 million, 100 million to 500 million, whatever. Each one of those leaps requires a risk and a financial commitment. So you just happen to be at the first one. So, take solace in that, I guess, that this is happening all along the way. It's not unique. So I guess I would, without knowing about your specific situation, I guess I would say that you have to take the leap when you feel like you've got a good. I wouldn't take the leap. I wouldn't make the investment. I wouldn't invest my money into if it was like if I was really going to lose money considerably, if I was risking a lot, unless I had product market fit. Like I would need to know that I have product market fit, and I would need to know clearly what my constraint is. I need to know clearly what's holding me back. Like why is the business not growing? I need to know why that is. If I don't know why that is, and I'm just trying to like figure it out, and I'm doing experiments and doing all these different things, then and I can do that in the context of my current job or without making a huge investment, I generally would try to figure that out ahead of time. That's usually the point where I get more aggressive with investment when we kind of know that we've got product market fit and now we're just scaling it up. Before that, I try to be super conservative and super conservative with my investment. So I hope that helps. And again, I don't know what your exact situation is in terms of how much money you make or how much your expenses are to live and all that sort of stuff, because that all makes a difference in this conversation too. But yeah, if your business, make sure you have product market fit, or at least a comfortable path to getting there. All right, next question. Rosalie Akaloweke. That's bad pronunciation on my part. Akalowiki. Albuquerque. I lived in Albuquerque for a while, so I understand the QUE part of it, but the other part I don't. All right, Rosalie. What are the best way to discuss work performance concerns with team members in a way that will help them improve rather than feel frustrated? I have an accounting firm. When a team member gets stuck with the client's work, I jump on a call with them and resolve the issue almost immediately. I have seen them get frustrated and embarrassed with themselves. How can I better these conversations so we leave feeling great and positive? Okay, so I guess the first thing is that make sure that all team members are properly trained and that you have clear expectations of them and that they know what their job is. Like they know how to do the thing, or like whatever in general, right? Things are going to come up, but in general. So if people are feeling embarrassed and frustrated, I don't know, like my mind immediately went to maybe it's because they didn't have enough information and it turned out that was an obvious thing, and had they been told that in advance, they could have, not involved you. So first thing, make sure that they have the training that they need, that they have all the information that they need, and they have clear metrics of what's going to be success in their position. If they have all of that and they're still having issues, one thing that I like to do is I don't solve the problem for them. I just ask questions. So what I might ask you to do in this particular case is I would ask them, and you might have heard this, I don't remember where this is from, Jim Collins or something. Or maybe it was, I don't know who it was, doesn't matter. Ask questions. So like if somebody says, hey, I've got this problem and I don't know what to do about it, don't immediately jump in and solve the problem for them and like fix it for them and tell them what to do, because then now they're dependent on you as well. So now whenever they hit a wall, they're not going to try to figure it out because they know they can just call you, get you on, and you'll just fix it for them. So asking the question of like, well, how would you approach that? Or what do you think it should be? Because sometimes it's just confidence on the person's, individual's part, that they have to be built up to know that they have somebody there who can help support them, but you don't have to give them the answer. So ask them 3 times, I think it's 5 times in whatever the standard method is that I'm talking about, but 3 or 5 times, 3, 4 or 5 times, keep asking, well, how would you approach it? And then they might say, well, I'm not sure. No, tell me, how would you do it? What do you think is the way to go? Well, I guess I would do this, this, and this. Okay, cool. And why would you do it this way? Or what else, like how else could you approach it? Or kind of nudge them in the right direction, but let them figure it out. They're going to learn a lot better that way, and they're also going to feel like that they kind of like knew the answer and they just needed you to support them in getting to it. I just had that happen to me the other day. I was on a call with a management team, and we were kind of working through some issues, and one of the team members, she was explaining a problem, and she knew what the answer was. She knew it. And I just kept asking her, well, what do you think we should do? What do you think? What do you want to do? And she was talking around it, and she didn't really want to say the answer. In this case, it was having to fire somebody. But I just kind of kept it at, what do you want to do? And then she got there. And that's because she knew what the right answer was. And we all on this call knew what the right answer was. We didn't need someone to come in and jump in and fix it for her. She could do it herself because she knew what to do. So trying to kind of coach people in the direction so that they can come to the conclusion themselves, because they might come to a conclusion that's better than what you come to, right? If I just give the answer, I only know what I came up with. I'm one brain. I'm one person. These other people, they might have a different perspective that's actually better than mine, and I want to give them the opportunity to do that. And if it's just a technical thing, they need to know it, then that's just training. You got to train people. All right. Lena Kalinsky. How do I find money to pay for things as a new business owner when cash flow is super tight and we just don't have money for certain things like websites, marketing, etc.? I've been trying to set up the website myself, but it's very difficult. I've checked YouTube, how-to videos, tutorials, etc., but it's far too confusing for me. I have looked into Fiverr, but I'm hesitant. I know I need a better e-commerce website and some other things for the business in order to grow sales, but I feel stuck knowing how to get it done and pay for it. What did you do to find money to pay for things in the beginning? Step one. If you are going to go to outside help, which it sounds like you should, because otherwise you're not moving forward. If you're waiting for yourself to figure out and learn all this stuff, you're better off just moving forward and paying someone else to do it as you're suggesting, and I think you're probably right. There's certain things you're just not going to be good at or don't want to take the time to learn, and that's fine. So I would say, first, before you hire anybody, especially like stuff that's kind of like relatively generic like that, I need a website, I need this, I need that, use the AO network, use other business, whatever connections you have to get referrals. Don't just go to some random people on Fiverr. If you go on Fiverr, be ready to spend 3 times the amount that you're going to like initially contract them to do, because odds are it's going to take you 3 shots to find the right person and have them do it right anyway. Whenever I go to Fiverr, I actually hire 3 people at the exact same time to do the exact same thing, knowing I'm going to throw 2 of them away, and then I just proceed forward with future projects with the one that was actually good. That's kind of my approach, so I save time at least. I pay the 3 times as much, but at least I don't waste time. But in lieu of that, another way to do that is to use the AO network, use people you know who have already utilized these types of services, and get them to tell you who they've used, why they like them, how much it was, all that sort of stuff, so you can make an informed decision and ideally find a group that's going to be really good for you. And then as far as the paying for it goes, this is the investment in your business. So depending on how much it is, I mean, you only have so many options. You either have to, bring it out of your own pocket somewhere, whether it's out of cash, savings, debt, whatever. Like, you either got to take the risk on yourself, or you got to bring in a financial partner or something. In these early stages, that's not easy to do. It's going to be friends and family who are going to help you in that scenario. It's probably not going to be, for sure will not be a professional investor. Yeah, and if you do bring in friends and family, my only recommendation on that is, even though they're friends and family and they're trying to help move something along with you, still treat them like professional investors in terms of write up that they gave you this money and that this money is for some ownership in your company, or it's debt with interest, or whatever the deal is. Write it down. Even if it's friends and family, even if you talk about it and you all feel great about it, write it down. It doesn't matter. Because at some point in the future, someone's going to forget what we talked about, and then it's going to be awkward. So, so those are your options. Cash out of your own pocket, savings, debt personally, wherever you can get the money from, or friends and family. That's it. That's going to be it. All right, next question. James Testani. Where can I find a temporary assistant to perform a repetitive, although necessary task? To improve SEO searchability, I'm revamping my website, and part of that includes recreating over 400 posts. It's a pretty step-by-step thing that doesn't involve too much thinking, but after doing about 40 of these, I realize my time is better spent elsewhere on my business. 100%. Yes. Yes, that type of repetitive sort of stuff that doesn't take too much thinking. Spend your time thinking in terms of writing down the process, literally bullet point it out, or do a Loom video, show how you do the thing, explain it, document it, whatever it is. And then those are perfect things that you can do on Fiverr. Like go to Fiverr, or again, reach out to the AO network, to people who've used these types of, doers before. I have a really great group in the Philippines that I use all the time and that I refer people to all the time. Her name is Renee. She's literally, it's like her and like a small little group of people in a little town in the Philippines, and they are fantastic for this sort of stuff, and they're super cheap. So yeah, and do not spend your time doing that sort of stuff. If you ever heard the term, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant, this is the same thing. If you don't have the person doing this repetitive task for you, then you are the person doing the repetitive task. And how that translates to money is, I mean, I don't know what this is or how complicated this is, but from the way you've described it, this is probably a $3 to $6 an hour thing. So if it's $3 to $6 an hour and you're doing it, then you are working for $3 to $6 an hour. You're better off spending the $3 to $6 an hour to get someone else to do it. All right, next question. Trent Pihas. What should I prioritize as my first steps while starting a marketing agency? I'm working on starting a marketing agency for commercial real estate brokers that markets brokers' listings directly to potential clients. Our focus is on taking dental medical listings and actively marketing them to qualified buyers and tenants. Compared to traditional marketing agency that place listings on their site for buyers, tenants to find. We want to find the buyers and tenants rather than them finding the listings. What would be good stepping stones to provide efficient marketing in this space? What should I prioritize to make sure I can deliver value to brokers? So I guess one of the things that I would say, which I say to anybody who's like in a marketing agency type capacity, is make sure that you can prove from a data perspective on why they're paying you. Marketing agencies are notorious for not providing any value and people just paying them and not really doing any good. And they just kind of like, money just goes out the door until the person gets tired of paying and then they get frustrated. The most successful marketing agencies that I've seen don't do that. They know exactly what their process is. They have a niche, as you've described, which is great. You're already starting out from a niche, which is fantastic. They know who they're marketing to. They know what their process is of communicating with their potential customer, and they do that process really, really, really well. So as such, I guess what I would say is, or my question back to you would be, do you know your process? Do you know the value that it creates? If I'm a broker and I can just throw it on a website for $200 and just sit there and wait for someone to come and buy it, and then every 6 months or so I sell something, your pitch to me would be, well, if I work with you, you're going to take that 6 months time frame and turn it into a 30-day time frame, which is going to speed up my transaction flow, which is going to be more money in my pocket. Okay, cool, that sounds great. So then it means you need to show me that you're able, through your process, to generate this higher velocity of transaction. So if you are able to do that, if you aren't able to do that, then you need to figure that out and to know precisely what you're going to do and really how you improve over the just sit and wait scenario. And that's something you need to know for yourself. If the sit and wait scenario is 6 months and your process is 5.5 months, there's not a lot of value there. If it's 6 months and yours is 30 days, well, there's a lot of value there. So you can ask for a lot of money in return. You probably can work on contingency if it's really predictable, which is a great way to prove out, your value, and which is also a great way for you to take a bigger piece of the pie. Because if you're taking the risk, you can ask for more of the, the rewards at the end. So, I would be clear on that your process actually works and delivers what you think it will, and then be able to show with data the difference between the two scenarios for the brokers that you're selling to. Okay, Greg Mandile. Should I set up KPIs for my business and why? I'm a web design and development company. I've been introduced to KPIs, but I don't currently use them. How can they help me better organize my business, and what KPIs should I focus on? So the answer is yes. You should have KPIs in your business. I don't care how big or small you are. There are important numbers that are going to affect your business. They're going to be different for everybody, and they're going to be different from business to business. Now, there's going to be some commonalities as you get bigger. When you're smaller, they're going to be a little bit more different than they would be. So I guess what I would say is if you have employees, every employee needs to have a couple KPIs in which they're held accountable to. They have to have some sort of numbers to know if they're doing a good job and for you to know if they're doing a good job and they're hitting like whatever the metrics are that you told them to hit. Because otherwise you just give them a bunch of stuff and then they start doing it. How do you know if they're doing it fast enough, if the quality is good enough, if the customer feedback response time is correct? I don't know, like all the different things that you need to manage, you're going to need to manage those with numbers, and those are KPIs. If it's just you or a very small group of people, you're still going to want to know KPIs because you're going to have certain activities that you should be doing every day that are going to grow the business. The example I always give, which may not be the exact example in your case or in many other businesses' case, but it's an easy one to conceptualize, is phone calls. Let's say you're driving all of your sales through cold calls. So that means your KPI should be 50 calls a day. If you make 50 calls a day and you go through your sales process, your business will grow. If you know that, then your KPI of 50 calls a day is an important number that you need to make sure you keep track of. And are you hitting the 50? And are you having the pickup rates and people are connecting and all these different things? So you got to keep track of your numbers and know what you're expecting to happen at each stage of your process or various processes within your business. And that becomes even more important once you have employees, because that's the way that you know how employees are either succeeding or not succeeding over the long term and short term for that matter. All right, last question. Michael Wilding, which is overall a better project management platform, Trello or Monday or other? My company is trying to decide which program management software to help us move forward faster. Monday is currently about 5 per month, more than Trello. The project manager we hired has experience with Trello, but I and the owner only have limited experience with Monday. Is one better than the other? Look, project management software, CRMs, ERP systems, all this stuff, the best ones are the ones that you actually use. There's probably very few of the names that you recognize are significantly better or worse just based on what they are. What makes them better or worse is if you actually use them or not, and you use them to the fullest capacity and integrate them into your business. Just my own personal opinion, I've used both Trello and Monday in two or three different scenarios. I like Trello, but that's just me personally. That's been my preference, and maybe I'm also biased. Maybe based on I never set them up from scratch. I always integrated like someone else did the work, and I just kind of helped, like was in there messing around. So I like Trello. It works for me. But again, whatever one works for whoever's in charge of it and is going to set it up and get everybody else to use it, however they do that the best is going to be the one that wins. It doesn't really matter beyond that. All right, that is it. Thanks everybody for listening. Glad to see everybody. I think I'll probably be doing one more of these up here on my roof in New York before I go back to Florida around the end of August. So depending on when I schedule my next one, we might have one more New York one, or I'll be back in my office in Florida. All right, that's it. Reach out to me if you need anything. Talk to y'all later.